you ever had a thought strike you and you really, really, really feel like it's true, but you have no way to prove it? And for years you go on believing that it is true, and then one day something happens to confirm that you were right? Well, friends, I just experienced the ecstasy of what I just described. I was right about something for once, and no one can take it away from me. Well, kinda. Something absolutely fucking wild came out of the world of wrestling, and if you don't give a shit about wrestling, I promise this is weird enough that it will mean something to you. And it concerns a very long, very infamous long-running story around Bret the Hitman Hart and Shawn Michaels. And let me just kind of paint the picture of who these two guys were. Bret the Hitman Hart is my childhood hero. If you drove me out into the middle of the desert and put a gun in my mouth and asked me to pick a favorite wrestler, I might say Bret the Hitman Hart. Please don't anyone do that. I don't think there is even like a desert in Ireland, so it would really be a fruitless endeavor. Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels were rivals, and in a lot of ways they were like the polar opposite of wrestling. Bret Hart was like the poster child of the new generation. This was like a time when wrestling was very clean cut, very kid focused, but Bret Hart himself, like, while not much of a talker, could put on matches that would make you see God. He was the excellence of execution, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, and his matches hold up phenomenally. A lot of people, it's my second favorite match, but a lot of people put his match with Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania as the greatest match of all time, and I'm not gonna argue it. I don't necessarily agree, but it is that fucking good. Shawn Michaels, on the other hand, was one of the first real signs of the attitude era in wrestling. Shawn was like kind of flamboyant. He was like, despite being like a built guy, he was slightly more effeminate than a lot of wrestlers at the time. He was his theme music went, I'm just a sexy boy toy, sexy boy. And he was that. He was very charismatic. He was ultra good on the mic. He was also a great wrestler, just legitimately phenomenal in the ring. And hated Bret Hart. Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels fucking hated each other, which is a problem because they were the two biggest wrestlers at the time, which meant that they had to work together to perform in ring. And things got slowly more and more tense. There's a lot of like he said, she said, or he said, I guess in this case, about who kind of screwed who over and where it started and who refused to drop the belt to who at which point. But it culminated in the Montreal screwjob. And listen, someone on my TikTok said, oh boy, Eyepatch Wolf describing the Montreal screwjob for the 10th time. Listen, there's going to be an 11th, okay? But by the way, I have a TikTok. Even old Eyepatch Wolf has a TikTok. I kind of just put... No, you know what? It's good. There's good shit on there. You should check out my TikTok. But yeah, the Montreal Screwjob famously is when Bret Hart was told that the match was going to end in a draw. And so when Shawn Michaels put Bret Hart in his own finishing move, Vince McMahon came down to the ring, told the like bell person to ring the bell, and it made it look like Bret Hart tapped out to his own finishing move. Now, there's a lot of extenuating circumstances around it. Bret Hart was about to leave the company. Vince was scared that Bret would take the title with him, blah, 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 all this kind of fucking stuff. And it was just a complete mess. And we need to talk about alleged sex trafficking enthusiast Vince McMahon for a second, because Vince McMahon forms these very strange, like, severe relationships with wrestlers where, like, they're quite intimate and loving, but also very distant and odd. And you can see so many different wrestlers talk about, like, the hold that Vince McMahon had over them. And I really started thinking about this a lot, like, years ago when I read Bret Hart's autobiography. And just hearing the way Vince would like latch on to different wrestlers and like do whatever he could to placate them even beyond any reason. And like, it wasn't just Shawn, but Shawn was the guy at the minute. And like, I kind of came out of it being like, okay, I know Vince McMahon isn't gay, Because that doesn't make any sense, because like you only need to watch an episode of Attitude Era Wrestling to know that's a man who loves titties, okay? For like without question. But if he's not gay, I wonder, I can't quite make sense of the way he is around wrestlers and his apparently completely plutonic adoration of the male physique. Okay, you know what? Like, cool. It takes all kinds. It's a strange world out there. But basically, kind of what happened is that long term, Vince ended up pulling some absolute insanity in support of Shawn to get the belt on Shawn and to kind of place him as the center of the company. And like, there is like business reasons he would do that, but it's still fucking weird. And especially when you align it with the way Vince is so often around talent. And so, you know, years later anyway, like Bret actually forgave Vince and Shawn. He kind of made good with them both, and like they're kind of on reasonably okay terms, and it's all been kind of put to rest until very recently when Bret Hart in an interview said this.
I don't know, I suspected, and now I really have serious... I think that Shawn and Vince were sleeping with each other. I'm just telling you, I think I'm very close to the truth here. That Shawn and Vince were lovers, and that's why I'm being dead honest, and I'm telling you.
I've seen people say that they think Bret Hart is joking here, that he's kind of just pulling a rib. Listen, Bret Hart is a man without whimsy. He is a being of zero joy. He is occasionally funny, but I don't think he is trying to be funny. I think he's funny because he's so deadpan in the things that like he believes and says.
Why would I want a picture of a pitiful pencil neck geek?
Yeah, indeed.
Don't feel sorry for him.
Like, this man can hold a fucking grudge like you would not believe. Like Bill Goldberg, the wrestler who basically ended Bret Hart's career, Bret Hart will still sign autographs 20 years later saying, fuck Bill Goldberg.
I regret that I got injured by a guy that couldn't wrestle and has no business of being in a Hall of Fame. He should be in the Hall of Shame.
Today's date is August 7th, 2022. Does Bret Hart like Bill Goldberg?
No.
And he is just this curmudgeonly, just stale, grumpy old wrestler who I adore. I aspire to his level of bitterness one day. And so I guess that there's been rumors about Vince like being involved with talent for a long time. Famously, Nails, a wrestler who assaulted Vince, famously said that Vince had made a pass at him, and there's been like rumors here and there for a long, but like this to me really makes the rumors, gives them a lot of credit for it to come from Bret Hart of all people. It's just wild. So yeah, I guess Vince is pan, and I mean, look, can relate, but I don't know. At the same time, I feel like billionaires get to this weird point where like, even if they're straight, they just start partaking in everything because they have experienced all of life's hedonistic joys. I don't know. I just noticed that with billionaires. Seems to kind of wrap around sometimes. Yep. Anyway. But yeah, I can't believe I was right. Clearly I'm just incapable of being wrong. And so I will never doubt my own beliefs again, and neither should you. Goodbye. I love you.